Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Seth Walder over at ESPN, at ESPN Analytics. So he's as Tim Brando, who's in studio with us earlier, called like these nerds that crunch numbers on FPI. It's so good. Anyway, but sometimes I like to consider this because we are all human and we are all governed by some degree of bias. No matter what lengths we go to try to block bias out and claim to be impartial, all of us are influenced by bias in certain ways, okay? And I can acknowledge that. I think we all can. So that's why sometimes I like to look at both subjective pieces and see what objective data and metrics say to either complement, confirm, or disconfirm that. Where do you have agreement? Where do you have disagreement? And then you can also look at trends. I think you all understand that, but just stating it for the record. And I state this because a year ago, I got accused of being a Saints hater, which is fundamentally absurd. I freaking have a replica of the Lombardi Trophy autographed by Drew Brees in my office at home, like a full-size replica. I mean, whatever. I don't explain my fandom and my love for the organization. But in this job, I have to be honest. And if I think they're going to stink, I'm going to tell you that. And if I think they're going to be great, I'm going to tell you that. But one of the things I did last offseason was highlight all of the different metrics and all of the different analytics and all of the different subjective pieces telling you people were not high on the Saints. And it bore out that way. You can call me a hater, whatever you want. I was right, like a lot of you were, who weren't sold on Derek Carr or Dennis Allen or that team a year ago. And you're seeing it again. And you can be sold on Clint Kubiak, and you can hope Derek Carr takes a step forward, and you can hope they get Michael Thomas out helps, and that they made the right decision in drafting Fuanga, who I think it's a really good pick, by the way, too. But Seth Walder over at ESPN Analytics gave the Saints offseason roster moves a D. Again, not his opinion, it's the metrics that they crunch. Said the biggest move was drafting Taliesin Fuanga. I agree. They liked signing Chase Young to a one-year deal, which I agree with that as well. Now, I don't like the fact that he's a player that's having neck surgery. When he's been healthy, he's been good, but the 2-year sandwich in between, he was a no-show because he's been hurt. So what Chase Young are you getting? And he writes, the move that I disliked. Failing to trade veterans. Quote, the Saints are addicted to mediocrity. And because of that, they failed to improve their future selves this offseason. And it's spot on. One of the more incredible things when you look at this piece, and specifically as it pertains to the Saints, according to roster management, which is this cap function that they use, the Saints have $15 million in cap space, despite Derek Carr, Marshawn Lattimore, Cam Jordan, Taysom Hill, Ryan Ramczyk, Demario Davis, Eric McCoy, Tyrann Mathieu, Carl Granderson. 9 players, all that have a base salary under $1.5 million. Those 9 players I just mentioned, their base salaries are all under $1.5 million to keep their cap hits low this year so you can be within cap compliance. Which means next year, you're already $50 million over the cap. More than any other team. Let me say that another way. I screwed that up. They're $77.6 million over the cap for next year, which is more than $50 million more than any other team. Does that make sense? Did I say that in a way that made sense? I hope I said that right. Basically, the Saints are already $77 million over the cap for next year. That's $50 million more than any other team. That's probably the cleanest way I could say it. So you're screwed again next year. And you can look at this analytics and say, oh, Matt, it's one ESPN analytics thing. Okay. Pro Football Focus ranks Derek Carr the 21st best quarterback in the NFL. They rank the Saints roster the 24th best roster in the NFL. Odds makers have the Saints over under 7.5 wins, meaning if you go over that number, you're still under 500 at 8-9. You can call me a hater all you want, but you better call everyone a hater. Because at what point do you start looking at all of this data? At what point do you start looking at all of these metrics, all of these subjective pieces, when everybody continues to say the same thing about your organization? The reality is that line about the Saints being addicted to mediocrity is so true. And I don't know any other better way to say it than how I've said it before, which is the Saints are like the person that put at the casino that put everything on red, and it was black. And instead of taking your losses, going home, working hard, building your account back up, they said, hang on, I'm going to the ATM to get more cash. And they keep busting. They keep trying to double down to make it back, and instead they keep digging the hole deeper. And that's where they are as an organization. They went all in those final years of Drew Brees, which I was totally fine with. Denver did it with Peyton Manning. The Rams are doing it right now with Matt Stafford. The Bucs did it with Tom Brady. It's okay to go all in to try to win now. But if you don't win, if it doesn't work, then you have to just accept that you failed. And you have to move on. And the Saints just can't do it. They just can't do it. And they keep digging themselves in a deeper hole, which is going to make it even harder to ever get out. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.